everybody. You just tuned in to From Whisper to a Scream. We've been planning this show for months and months, over a long distance. Cheryl lives in Los Angeles. I live in Georgia. Cheryl is here for the weekend, so this is the time that we decided to tape at least our first program, Whisper to a Scream. Now, what do we mean when we say whisper to a scream? We mean that a lot of things are said between people, but we're not taking it directly to the people who need to hear it, our congressmen, our senators, to the news stations. And we need to start making a joint effort to take these issues that seem to be affecting a lot of us and taking it to where it really needs to go. And my name is Bernard, and I've been in the public relations business for over 36 years, and I've watched people's behavior in those years. And Cheryl, who's my partner here, get that straight, Cheryl, she's a married woman. And she's my partner in
this business.
Getting the word out there and let people know that you're not alone in thinking this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of us who see what's going on and want to do something about it, and that's primarily why we're here right now for that. So Cheryl, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know I know, but
well, I'm a marriage and family therapist intern on my way to be licensed in a couple of months. And I study behavior, human behavior. I have 2 wonderful children and 1 wonderful grandson, and I have a wonderful husband. But I see a lot, and I have a lot of opinions. And so Whisper to a Scream is just doing our part. You know how they say, what's on your mind in Facebook? Well, I don't particularly like Facebook that much, but here on Whisper to a Scream, we'll be talking about things that we want to scream about. We think that needs to be screamed and not just whispered.
For instance, who's the Trump guy that we're all talking about these days?
Oh, Flynn?
Yeah, Flynn.
Yeah, how he resigned, and for good reason. The way that they did it, it just seemed like that he was forced, or, because they said that he was a potential threat for blackmail by the Russians.
Right.
So, that goes to show you, Russia has been mentioned a lot in this administration.
Yeah, even before.
Yeah, even before he became president.
With this smoke, there's fire. Something's the matter. I don't know what it is.
And now there's a big ship off our coast that's from Russia.
Right.
Trump defends Russia at every point.
Yeah,
and isn't that, I would say that would be treason.
It just makes you wonder about those rumors that we keep hearing about, those pictures of Trump in compromising sexual positions. And because Putin can do no wrong. Everybody else in the world, every president from every leader from every other country can do something wrong, but Putin can't do any wrong. And now Trump is saying that we need to make them more of an ally. What is that about?
I don't know. I'm not a political follower, but like I said, I follow human patterns, human behavior. Mm-hmm. And his pattern and his behavior sounds like that he's got a lot of invested interest in Russia.
Yeah.
And what it is, we don't know. But hey, America, we are a republic, and we have to understand what it means, how the Electoral College got him in.
Right.
And how the 3 branches of government can get him out.
Right. And this is the second time that I can remember in recent times when a candidate won the popular vote, but they didn't win the Electoral College. We should have, if we had been aware of it like we are now, we should have stopped doing it then.
Right. And some people are still not aware. They're still under the mentality that, well, my vote doesn't count and it doesn't matter. See, this proves that they're going to do what they want to do. Well, if we educate ourselves or educate our people to understand that seems true, but it's not. Our vote still does count.
Yes, it does.
And your voice still does count. And we can get rid of the electoral college if we scream, loud
folks,
enough.
If we scream loud enough,
and
we
you
can do
vote
it.
the people in that you want in. You have
Exactly.
to. The president cannot do what they promise you on the campaign trail.
They don't have that. They just don't have
None
that
of
power.
them can.
Right.
Obama promised certain things.
Right.
He couldn't do it.
Exactly.
He could not do it unless he had Congress and the House of Representatives vote,
Senate,
agree with him.
Right.
He has to do a lot of presidential orders to get some of the things passed. But most of the things you cannot do unless you have. Well, see now, and now we've created where, because of not voting, we've created to where now Trump does have the majority. He has majority of the House. He has majority of the Senate.
Yes.
So now he can. It does, and it appears that he can. But who did that? The people.
Right.
So we're screaming. And in fact, this is not the way this show was supposed to go.
Right. But here we are.
But here we are. We just go as our spirits just really come out. This is what needs to be talked about.
Because the reason this needs to go from a whisper to a scream is because it's only the beginning of Trump. Trump is only this is his fourth week.
Is it 4 weeks?
Just about 4 weeks.
It seems like it's been a year.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we've been here for like a year, it seems like, and it's driving me crazy. It is. But so Trump is bringing in. He's not thinking about people who are qualified to do a position. Right. He's thinking about bringing in his buddies, his loyal people. And it just so happens that the people that he surrounds himself with are people who are rich. Nothing wrong with being rich. But when you're talking about running the country, making decisions for the majority of the people, and you don't even live like the majority of the people, and probably don't even know a lot of people who, the everyday working lady and gentleman who goes to work every day, who wants to get their children educated, who wants to make enough to put food on the table and a roof over their head and do it in a decent style, and maybe even have a little fun every now and then and represent this country. Because I think most of us love this country. When I say love this country, I can't think of any other place I'd rather live on this earth except the United States. I think you feel the same way, Cheryl. You know, we both
we've been around the world.
Yeah, we both traveled
to many countries.
And no matter what, and so when I hear people, when we bring up these kind of issues, and then somebody who considers themselves privileged says, well, if you don't like it, go to another country. I'm saying, wait a minute, this is my country. I can speak up for it. If you don't like, why don't you leave? But it doesn't seem to be happening that way. And Trump is going to be an ongoing subject, and his whole fiasco, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
We'll be talking about that. But one of the other things we want to talk about too is the economy and how it's working for all of us. And how, once again, it's important for all our communities to come together.
Right.
Earlier, Cheryl and I were talking specifically about the members from the Asian community who are in black communities.
Right. Making money.
And they're making money, and they're not leaving any money there.
Any money in the community.
So you can't blame them, because this is a capitalistic country. We understand that, and they're making money. That's fine. But it just seems to me that no matter who is making money in that neighborhood, to me you owe something back to that neighborhood.
Right.
You just can't take the money and then just run.
Right.
And it's okay if you're nice to me when I come in the store. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. But we need something real. Like, how about just hiring at least one person from that community?
Right. Yeah, I was telling Bernard earlier in that conversation that if I was a city councilman of any city, no matter what my ethnic background would be, mm-hmm. I would say, if you have a business in my city, mm-hmm. you have to hire at least one person from the community of which you have your business.
That'd be great.
Because we have to take care of each other. We're all a village. But mm-hmm. if the village is sick, nobody's taking care of the village.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening in say the race of there's a human beings that live in the urban part of the cities, mm-hmm. and they seem to get the worst and the least. and we have to screen for them.
Yeah.
And we have to educate them. Why is it that in that community, and these are mostly communities where the ethnic seems to be either Hispanic or Black, and they don't have any grocery stores, or they have one and the groceries are so much higher than if you went to the grocery store in another community where the color of their skin is a little lighter.
But there's liquor stores.
There's a liquor store on every corner.
Right.
Why is that? And they're trying to, what is the word where they try to anestheticize? Where that's why they have the liquor store, because they patronize the liquor store, because they try to anesthetize their pain.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like a brother a black man may go to jail for stealing, but he's only stealing because he needs money to feed his kids. You know, whereas a white man, you're privileged.
Right. We like
why are you stealing? You got all the opportunities in the world. Your punishment should be much harsher than a man who's only stealing a loaf of bread because he needs to feed his family.
Well, I think to your point, Cheryl, I think what we're really saying is that it just seems like the criminal injustice system is just that. Because if a man who happens to be a man of color is caught stealing a loaf of bread for his family, he might get 10 years.
Yeah.
But a person who happens to be what we call Caucasian steals millions from a bank, he might get a couple of years, and they might even set up a program where he might pay some of it back if he can still get that kind of a salary.
Right.
So it's like there was a song out probably before your time, Cheryl, by this lady named Grace Jones called "White Collar Crime." You don't have to do time. Blue collar crime, you'll do time every time. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind. So those are the kinds of things we want to kind of scream about, because they need to be said. And I'm gonna say it again: you are not the only ones who are thinking that. A lot of us are thinking that.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
And we're talking to each other when we should be talking it out to where our leaders can hear it.
Exactly.
You know. Well, let's move on to another subject of what we're going to be talking about also.
Okay.
Some of the things that we might be talking about. And that is, pay attention to where your attention is drawn to. So while we were listening to what Flynn was doing and the immigration, and those issues were important, but they weren't as important as what Congress did while we were looking over there. So pay attention to what Congress is doing. We're going to be talking about that a lot, about what our country is doing and how they're manipulating us. He's saying that there's fake news here, but his news is fake, or what,
He used the word ruse today.
Yeah.
And the biggest ruse of all is him sending out those tweets. So we all start to follow the tweets that he's done and saying, what is Donald going to do next? In the meantime, like you were saying, they've gotten rid of all the programs that were under President Obama. And tearing down anything that it's like they want to totally erase what happened before him. Trump even said today that his regime is running like a well-oiled machine. And he said he's had this big mess that he has to clean up from the previous administration. Now we all, whether you like, for people who don't like Obama, they refuse to see what good he did.
Right.
I'm not saying that Obama was perfect, and a lot of things some things I didn't like. Like I thought he should have given more to the black community. But he didn't. I guess he saw himself as being the president of the whole community, and that's fine. But what I want to say, and Cheryl probably doesn't want me to say, but I'm going to say anyway, is that Donald Trump has come into office and he's doing for white people what we was hoping that Obama would come in and do for black people, but not to the extent over the top like Trump is doing, but just say something to acknowledge us. Don't just make us just fade into the general population. So it's about building a community. If I should say something about white people do this and black people do that, or Latinos do this, it is not as to be divisive. it really isn't. But we're just trying to speak the truth from a layman's point of view. Like I said, we're just like you. and we hope you feel like you're just like us. And in the coming shows, hopefully we'll be having live broadcast. But in the meantime, you can put in the comments down below after this video. But so we want to build a world community. We're not trying to divide, but we're just trying to be honest about stuff. And we want you to be honest too, even if you don't like what we're saying.
Right.
Just be honest. Please don't be disrespectful. We're not going to tolerate that. Just like you wouldn't tolerate it from us. Don't be disrespectful, and we can agree to disagree, but
agreeably.
Don't be disagreeable. That's not it. But
we love all people.
Yeah,
you know,
we do.
It's just like when my dad married his present wife, from whom they've been married for over 40 years.
Okay.
And he said when he was going to introduce me to her, when he was dating her, I think I was about 9, or maybe I was about 9.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, do you like white people?" And I told him, I said, "I like them if they like me."
Right. But that's a good way to look at it.
You know, I had no problems. And my mom, she's been my stepmother for over 40 years now. So it's not about whether you're white, black. We are a race of people who were all here as human. There is no color in the eyes of God.
Cheryl said earlier about God doesn't see color, and I say God does see color, because I think God purposely...
Oh yeah, he made us a rainbow.
Yeah, there you go. He made us a rainbow, and we're to be here to acknowledge each other's presence, each other's gifts.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look at all the different colors that we have and all the different features, but in some ways they all blend together at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if we took off our skin, we would all look alike.
That's right. There was a program on a couple of years ago. It was this great thing they did. It was on MTV or something like that, and they had this program where they cut all the lights off. Did you ever see this program?
Oh,
they cut all the lights off.
I've heard about it, but I don't think I ever
and
saw it.
they put this, men and women in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And they could talk. And then if they vibe, then I think they would put a spotlight out so they could take one step at a time and finally meet each other, touch each other, and talk. And then they would turn the lights on. And they would see who they were with.
Right.
Some of them were shocked about who they were with. But it just goes to show you, it's an old joke too. But when the lights are out, we're all the same.
All the same.
And when you think about, that's why when I listen to a lot of talk radio. I listen to the so-called black talk radio and a lot of the white talk radio with Hannity and on the black side with Al Sharpton, and I hear these people saying the same thing, but somehow or another they keep trying to make it sound like it's a totally different perspective.
Right.
And it's not like
that. It's not. You're saying the same thing, you're just using different words.
That's right.
And we're more alike than we are unalike.
Absolutely.
And I've heard that said so many times by religious leaders, by political leaders, who say that we're more alike than we are unalike. But some people refuse to believe that.
I agree with you, Cheryl. We only got a few more minutes, but I want to talk to you about this other story. Okay, yeah, so we're back, folks. But Cheryl, before we went to break, I was talking about this story about this young man who they call Theo. They don't want to give his real name. But here again, it makes you wonder why people get so crazy. It was from a little town outside of Paris. I can't think of the name of it right now. And just happened about a week ago. And he saw this policeman slap another person. So he went over to that, and said, what's going on? So they grabbed him, took him around the corner, and started roughing him up. And what they did was they ended up handcuffing him. And after they handcuffed him, then they sprayed him with some mace after he was already handcuffed, and started roughing him up a little bit more. And at some point, one of the policemen took out a billy club and rammed the billy club up his anus. The staff at the hospital, when he went to the hospital that same night, the staff said that he came in bloody. He was just bloodied all over. And so he went in, and about a week later, the police did a report. They did an investigation, and their determination was, because Theo said he had been raped, really sodomized, and after that investigation, the police department said no, it couldn't have been a rape. because it was done accidentally. So when people in the town heard that, they started rioting. Like, do they think that we're crazy? So they started rioting and tore up things. And finally, the president has come out and they're going to press charges against one of them, and the other ones are being brought up on lesser charges. But
you mean the one that actually accidentally
I guess
sodomized?
that's the one. They said this one guy. They're going to press charges. They're calling it aggravated assault. That's it.
So that's one of the stories that Trump was talking about that doesn't get told about.
Yeah, exactly, right.
They're not telling enough enough terrorist stories.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a terrorist.
Yeah. That's false news.
Yeah,
that's false. Yeah, but it wasn't false, and it keeps happening, and it just makes you go, It really does. But listen, we are just so happy, to be here, and we hope to foster more conversation and comments and questions from you. So please, we do want to hear from you. This is important to us because we want you to know that you're not out there alone, and we want to make sure that we're not here alone. So please, down below, put your comments down and your questions, whatever you have to say, but just let us know what's going on. So, and we'll be seeing you again real soon in another episode. But so in the meantime, get out there and take it from a whisper to
a scream.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Appreciate it.